Welcome back to CodingCat.dev, where we give you cats the freshest dose of dev snacks. Here is Alex Patterson and Brittany Postma. I was telling everyone pre-show that I had a video put together, but it was way too trippy. We all got a good laugh out of it. That was about it. So as you can tell, it's our holiday episode where we try to invite as many people that we've talked to over the past year or 2 years or whatever it might be, just guests of the show. And we like to delight them with presents. See what I did there? Ooh.
Are we calling it like the fun episode?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. How is everyone? Should we go through and introduce? Brittany,
Probably.
why don't you go first? We'll go around the clock.
Okay. Hi, I'm Brittany Postma. I'm a co-host here on CodingCat.dev. I work in design systems, love Svelte, and Roll Tide.
Dang it. She's killing me with this. I'm Alex Patterson, your other host of CodingCat.dev podcast. I also work at FusionAuth as developer relations engineer. Go Blue. We have a big game coming up where we're fighting each other, if you can't tell. So
if you haven't listened to our previous fights before.
Cedric, you wanna keep going?
Yeah, my name is Cedric. I work at Expo. I did a mystery guest or mystery visit 2 days ago, so I'm here again. So yeah,
he's brand new to the podcast. Mr. Nicholas Roosh.
Yeah, Nick Roosh. Currently working as a engineering manager at GM, supporting our infotainment design and development on UX and everything else, as well as a coffee entrepreneur and a bunch of other things. Just creative, just kind of guy.
You're apparently baking cookies in an angry tree elf situation.
So angry today.
Becca, could you go next?
Yeah, sure. I am Becca. I am developer experience lead at OpenSauce, and I am a community maintainer at Virtual Coffee.
Nice. Elena.
Hey, my name is Elena. I'm the founder of HoloPin, which is a sticker company, almost. We do digital badges, so organizations can provide digital badges for open source achievements, certifications through HoloPin. And I'm a cat mom. You can see my cat right there, Sigma, sleeping.
Oh, I totally didn't even realize that was a cat.
That's awesome. Perfect for the podcast.
And Clark, as I should say, the Clark, since it's that conference. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. Go ahead, Clark.
Clark Sell, founder of that conference, engineer, dude, lives in the Midwest. That's me.
That's awesome.
You love Svelte too.
Oh, I do love a little Svelte. I've been on that roller coaster for the last 4 years, and now apparently there's a whole bunch more updates I need to get ready for.
Oh yeah.
Same. Yeah. That's not that's an exciting thing.
Yeah, that's kind of a spoiler for later, right? We're going to talk about this stuff.
We're going to try to. Yeah.
I'm still trying to get 4 done.
Oh, same. Like our code base, same. Yeah. 4 is going to be the hard one though. 5 should be easy.
And now I'm over here looking at HoloPin, just trying to figure out where I can use this in our platform.
Right? Yeah.
We've been trying to figure out where to plug it in. It's in our repo. It's just not deployed. So
I feel
theoretically, if you PR our repo, it should give you a HoloPin, but I don't think it's working yet. Sorry. I just need to get it to work.
I feel like all the people that we have on the podcast, one of the great things is like there's just so many technologies and great things out there that you want to use, but everybody that comes on, it's like, oh, can we integrate this into our system? Can we do? It's like more stuff to do, but it's so fun.
It's always fun. Always a little extra work. This is that video.
Oh, did you really have to play it? Okay.
No, it was just still up and I had to show it.
The graphic is better. I wish we could have mixed the two together. You had the 2 different graphics that AI generated. This one was okay, but the other one was a little better with the cat and the words.
I haven't gotten really good at how to mix them together. So it's like I ask one extra thing. Like I kept putting "don't put teeth on the cat" and it would change the whole thing. I'm like, oh, thanks.
Oh, interesting.
So I do want to shout out Sticker Mule. They are supporting us today and giving out free IRL stickers, not digital stickers today. I will send them to everyone. Just shoot me your address. It is down here. It might be that sticker, but I'm guessing I have to reprint, so it'll probably be our new logo with the smiling face. Just put in your info here. I'll get an email and I'll ship it out to you.
Awesome.
This is the outline of our talk, but we also have our repo open. So
I don't see any spelt in there. I'm sorry. What happened?
oh, yeah, I
Is
got cut
it
off.
below?
What did happen? Oh no.
I don't know. I
What's
was
that
going to ask
React
you though,
stuff?
do you
Yeah,
have
what's that
coasters
React
you're giving away too?
Oh yes, I can give away coasters. I have too many of them.
So I don't have the Coding Cat one yet, but this is the Spelt one that I got, and the Coding Cat one has Coding Cat and Spelt. Do you have one near you?
Yeah, I do. Mine is
But
awesome
they're
cat
awesome.
right
They're
here.
really thick. I have one from Sanity to put up next to it, and they are like completely. I'm shaking, so I don't know why I'm shaking.
Y'all
today.
are too
behind-
fancy. Like I
it was
literally
behind
have a
this.
towel.
Sorry, it was stuck. It
Oh.
was behind this.
Do you want to start a fight again?
Here's the coasters.
It's funny because I'm a Michigan fan unless they're playing Alabama, and then I'm just nope.
Brittany,
I'm
I
rooting
was
for
in your
Michigan
neck of
all
the
year.
woods last weekend.
Oh, what were you doing up there, Clark?
We did a little college visit over at Michigan
Oh
State.
yeah, I saw that. I was
Oh,
like,
nice.
they really got to turn that around their program, and you were like, sports? Question mark.
Hey, there's a lot going on these days.
It's kind of scary. They had
Do your kids play sports?
Soccer.
Soccer. Nice.
You'll probably be all right. What's everyone else's holiday plans today or this week? Sorry. Anything fun going on?
Everybody's like trying to be polite. Becca, you want to go?
We're gonna go. It's a surprise for my kids, but they're not watching. So my in-laws rented a limo, and there's this place called Ogilvy, and they have this big like lights display. So you drive through the park, and so we're gonna have hot chocolate, and we're gonna drive through and see all of the lights. So that's gonna be pretty fun.
Cool. Where are you based
Yeah.
out of?
I am in a small town in Ohio, but Ogilvy is in Wheeling, West Virginia. And then on
Oh.
Monday, my kid had a field trip to Nutcracker Village. So we have Nutcracker Village in our downtown, and we got to see all the different, they're like life-size nutcrackers, all different kinds. It was a lot of fun.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow, I'm impressed that they'll let like the limo go through. Usually those shows are so tight, like you can't even get
I
through.
know. I've never seen that before. So I'm assuming that we will get through.
That's really exciting.
That is awesome.
Brittany, I've lost my outline. That's so, kill some
Oh.
time.
I was waiting on someone else to go for their Christmas plans. We have a Christmas family party on Saturday, and I have not wrapped a single gift. So at least I have Friday off to take care of that. And I think we're shipping the kids off to grandma's that night so we can get all the wrapping done before the Christmas party. And then we actually are celebrating Christmas on Christmas Eve because unfortunately my husband's working on Christmas. And it's the last year of that, though. He's switching jobs next year. So off to
Oh
an
my
office
gosh.
where
I
they'll
don't
have
think
it.
I knew that.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
He's going into an office instead of in the hospital now. So
That'll be nice.
it will be.
Little more chill.
And part-time too. So 2 to 3 days a week.
How about our guests from across the pond? You guys doing anything exciting?
I just lost an airport. I'm going to Denmark to celebrate Christmas with some of my family who live there. And fun fact, they celebrate they do the major celebrations on the 24th. So that's the Christmas. We dance around the Christmas tree and exchange presents. And thank you for reminding me, Brittany, that I actually need to wrap them. So I know what I'm doing tonight. But yeah, that's
really
that's
cool.
what I'm up to.
Awesome.
Cedric, anything?
Yeah, so in the Netherlands, we actually have 2 Christmas days, the first and the second. So I will be mostly hanging out with family, eating a lot of good food. And because I'm also half French, we're gonna eat a very traditional dessert, which is bûche de Noël. And that had to be ordered specifically for us. So I'm very looking forward to that part.
But what does that mean? Like when you have to specifically get it ordered?
So there's a lot of French people living here in Amsterdam. So there are actually bakeries and shops that specializes in this traditional version of like the dessert. And it's basically like a sort of a combination between an ice pie or a cake and just literally a normal cake. But
Oh.
yeah, like if there's any French people watching, they will exactly know what I'm talking about.
I'm actually surprised that like that part of Dutch culture hasn't come here. I live in Holland, Michigan, and it's a huge Dutch settlement. My last name is like clear for that, but I've never heard of like doing it the first and the second.
Yeah, it's very specific to the Netherlands, I would say. Like even the France doesn't have a second day, or I'm not sure about Germany, but they probably won't have a second day either. But
That's
it works pretty well because like if you celebrate with one part of the family on the first, you can always do the second one with the other part. So you're always celebrating with everybody.
very cool. All right. Did you find your outline, or did
did.
Nick go? Nick, do you have anything you want to add?
You know, I really don't. I'm really just looking forward to some downtime. I got 2 weeks off with work and
Oh,
just ready
nice.
to kind of focus on a little bit of family time and just recharge a little bit.
Very cool.
So for you guys who haven't met Nick before, we actually went to college together and been good friends for 20 plus years at this point. So
Long time.
we usually see each other around the holidays, but I don't know if we can make it work this year. We're gonna have
Should
to
do it
drive
like
to Lansing, I think. Maybe Clark can come in too.
we do Friendsgiving, or some people do Friendsgiving for Thanksgiving. You should do like Friends Christmas. We need a better word for that though.
We actually did Turkey Day extravaganza for, I don't know, 12 years?
12
Oh
years.
wow.
12
Very
years.
cool.
slip away.
It's coming back at some point.
It's coming
As
back.
soon as life calms down a little bit.
All right, we can break into the tech talk. Thank you for everyone. I don't know if did I miss Clark? Holidays?
He's going.
I mean, I got older teenagers. I got too much work to do. I'm just hoping I can get ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
Remember, take just a moment of pause, Clark. Don't work the whole time.
I'm trying to.
So I did find the outline, but I didn't find it in the written form that I was hoping to find. So I think that was the issue the other day too. So it is out here if you pause this tweet correctly, because I did that whole like create a GPT from bytes.dev so it could get the whole year thing. So I'll just talk about them and we can chat about them and see what you guys think, what you remember. So the first one is Netlify bought Gatsby. Does anyone remember this?
I remember it.
It's pretty crazy, right? Like it feels like it was 10 years ago now.
I remember it because I was laid off, and then 2 months later they bought Gatsby.
You're like, wait, I could have been that money. Please.
It's fine. I'm in a much better place now, so I can celebrate that they bought Gatsby. And I think they bought Gatsby for a specific reason. If anybody's heard of Netlify Connect, they've made this like they used Gatsby's Graph CMS layer and brought that in and used StackBit for the like CMS side of it. And so it's like a one place platform for everything.
Yeah, and it's pretty neat too, the way that works. I think they'll continue to build it out, but the actual like usage of Gatsby, the last I checked, is on a nosedive, unfortunately. So
I was going to say, like, I totally forgot Gatsby existed.
see, that's what I mean. I feel
it
like it was
sounds-
10 years ago.
It sounds terrible, but Astro kind of swooped in and was like, "See ya, like, let's go."
Yeah, it does feel like that a little bit, but
Which
I
brings
learned
up
on Gatsby, which is like crazy that like everything was built on Gatsby before I knew about Svelte, and then I found Svelte and I switched off of Gatsby, and I haven't used it in like 3-4 years. Clark's rooting me on.
I think that Astro 2 came out in January, if you can
And
believe that.
now we're on Astro 4.
Yeah, we're on Astro 4, which just dropped, but I think that was the whole, like, we had to wait like everyone else for Vite 5 to come out.
Yeah, that's the big thing SvelteKit 2 is also bringing to the table is Vite 5 support. Does anyone here use Astro?
I do at work.
I want to.
Yeah, there's just too many new things to try all the time. I haven't tried Astro either, even though it supports all the frameworks, which is really cool, but I haven't had a specific, I don't know. I love SvelteKit and I know SvelteKit so well that I just don't want to break out of it.
For me, it's not even like it's Astro as like a creation tool for content, I think is amazing. I could layer any other framework into it
Yeah.
after that. It doesn't matter. For me, for Svelte though, it's the dang community. Like, it is unbelievable. The Svelte community just brings everybody up. So it's really cool.
They are amazing.
I was gonna bring up. Nope, can't. Never mind. So React Native Vibe Check, I don't know what that is, but I will tell you folks, I've just been working with Expo very recently, and wow, I hated native mobile. I can't get in it. Like, I hate Kotlin. I never enjoyed Objective-C back in the day, so I never went down the Apple route. And being able to write React, has anyone tried this, by the way? Writing like React Native in Becca's shaking her head. Tell me more, Becca. What's your experience with this?
It's been a while since I've used React Native, but I actually preferred it. I did it fairly soon after graduating boot camp. So as a front end developer doing React for like 8 months, and then I got laid off because of the pandemic, and then I landed a React Native contract. And so we were using Expo. I also have a like side project in Expo that I never touch anymore. I would like to if I had time. But I really liked using React Native because it clicked for me a lot more because it's like tangible things, right? Like if you're scrolling, then you have an element that says that you're going to be scrolling, right? It's a screen, it's not a component. And so I don't know, that made it really a nice transition over from React. So I enjoyed doing it. Then when I got my M1, when they first came out, it was just like a disaster to try and get anything running. And so it's been a while, but I don't know. I enjoy it, and I try and keep up with the stuff that they're doing. I'm actually a moderator in a React Native Twitter community. So we've got a backlog. We're trying to get you all in if you're trying to be in there.
Nice. We've got a quick shout out from Alex Trost. How many people in the room know Alex? Nobody? That can't be true. I might have to wait till Brittany comes back.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
I know Alex Trost. Front end horse. If no one knows who he is, he runs the community Front end horse. He used to stream a lot on Twitch. Works for
Prismic.
Prismic.
Yeah, we always get
I'm
our P's messed up on the show.
Yeah. What were you saying about Alex before I got back?
No, he said hello. Hey, pals.
Oh.
He also says no worries, that only you and I, apparently. Whoa, I just clicked something. Sorry. Yuri's floating around too. Hi, Yuri. Happy holidays. Like seeing other friends come in.
I could always do one of those sly disses again, Alex, if you want me to go. do that again. I said something really rude, not even meaning to Alex Trost when I met him out in San Francisco. It was me, Ben Holmes, and Alex, and I said, like, look at all of us now. I was working for Netlify, and Ben was working for Astro, and Alex was still in the same position, but he had gotten promoted. And so I was like, look at all of us, and he was like, and I'm still in the same spot. It was funny. You had to be there though. Sorry.
Oh, it's all good. Next item up is what was that?
Sorry. My husband just shut the door.
Dino's dilemma. So I think this is when Dino realized that they needed to get some money, I believe. Has anyone used Dino lately?
I only used it for like Netlify Edge functions when I was working there. I didn't actually remember that happened where they were asking for money.
Yeah, I think they went full VC, right? They've got 250,000 monthly active users. They raised 26 million from some big name VCs and are shipping new. Yeah. So I think a lot of like Netlify Edge runtime, Supabase has their Edge functions that are running on Dino as well. I think things are looking up on that side of things.
Yeah, but like if you were starting today, why not use Bun?
So
I
I've talked with several people at this point on Bun, and they all feel as though what's the creator's name? I can't remember. Anyways, they 100% all feel like he's the only one that does like 99% of the commits to that thing. And if he stops working 20-hour days on Bun, they're a little afraid of what's happening.
That sounds exactly like Node back into 0.1 days. So
yeah. So the kind of the correlation there, they were really excited though that they've brought up Node and pushed Node to like really release features, make everything better, and version 20 has been really solid. And you start to look at numbers. Bun's published some things that they've found weren't quite correct. So like Node would check down a full file tree for things where Bun's like, I can't find that, moving on. And so it like performs better in their metric polling. So there's some things there that are interesting, but I think JavaScript core is pretty interesting. And Twig, what's the
Zig.
what? Zig. Thank you. Zig runtime or Zig programming language.
Is that Zig.js like the one that has like Vue and other support?
No, like from what I understand, like I haven't used Zig at all, but from what I hear from other people who have used it, is that it's basically the next level language. So it's like it's as fast and it compiles down to like low code, like literally low level code. But it's such a like a pro compared to, it's basically the TypeScript of C. That's what you should look at it, I would say, in terms of language features that is being added. It's still maintaining the same performance.
Yeah, that's pretty great. And then for the rest of Bun, it's JavaScript core, which is I believe the Safari runtime that they use instead of V8.
The thing that interests me the most about Bun is the ability to use CJS and ESM, common JavaScript and ECMAScript modules in the same like context without having to worry about them.
Is that that's coming in Node, the next release, I believe.
What?
Yeah, that's why I said I think everything that's out there they'll keep pushing for.
I didn't know that either. That's amazing.
I think so. I read it in some spec article.
Does that mean that your repo will have to have that version of Node support? Because like ours is on Node 16 still, so I don't know that it would help us.
Node 16 is getting close to.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Like out. 18.
Come on.
Oh,
well,
I
like,
don't
Merry
have
Christmas.
control over
Pump that thing up.
I don't have control over that. I use Node 20, so.
Let's see here. Here's the article. Oops, sorry guys. There you go. Bring forward the end of life date for Node 16. Does it actually specify? Ooh. It's coming
April
quick.
2024 is coming, and they actually have a path to upgrade to Svelte 4, and part of that we have to upgrade to at least 18. So we'll do 18 Svelte 4, and give us. But all that common JavaScript has to go away for Svelte 4 too. So every piece of common JavaScript has to get ripped out of our code base, which is just a lot.
That'll be such like an easy thing to do, right?
Oh, just like search for required. If somebody was like, can you not just do a search and replace? I'm like, it's just totally different syntax. It's too hard to find and replace that. Then you have to worry about named exports or default exports, and it's a nightmare.
I mean, to be fair, you can do it. It's just whether or not it works on the other side. So
Yeah.
That's a good point.
grep all the things. Fix it
And
later.
then you would have to go back and like fix all the errors. I did that with SAS yesterday. I don't want to do that again.
Elena, you have a lot of backend floating around in Holopin, right? Are you guys using Node?
Yeah, I mean we're mainly on Next.js. And fun fact, going back to Gatsby conversation, we started building Holopin using Gatsby, but migrated it out to Next.js like 4 or 5 months in. Yeah, I think we're on 18, possibly
Nice.
Node 18.
Yeah.
You guys do you have cron jobs running too, or is it all event driven when people like hit that API?
It's event driven. We have things like reminder emails get sent through cron jobs. I'm not in charge of those, so I wouldn't be able to tell you how they're configured. But
yeah, no worries. Looking at February, March, they have the NG Renaissance Fair in here, but I think we could probably go a step further. Angular.dev came out. Everybody hear about Angular.dev this year?
I don't know if I heard about Angular.dev.
So Angular.dev is kind of the resurgence of Angular. This is their new site, their new branding, their new color, their new logo.
I did see the new brand, so that's what this was a part of.
Yeah, and this has like their new doc site, so it's trying to kind of compete with the learn.sveltes and things like that, so you can actually do live tutorials and walk through things. So again, our good friends over at StackBlitz running web containers directly in the browser so you can get some stuff done.
I know later we'll talk more about Angular, but Brandon Roberts has been doing a lot in the Angular community too, trying to get Vite support into Angular instead of Webpack. And they just did something the other day that he got in.
This release actually, if it's not beta, I think it's fully baked to run Vite now, I believe.
Is it? Nice.
Yeah. So the Angular, this release as well, a lot of SSR improvements were in this. So I love Angular. It's because of it's what I grew up on, I guess. So like jQuery, and then Angular 2 was my next thing to jump into. So there's still a little piece of my heart that goes with Angular, but I haven't written it in probably 4 or 5 years. Shock, I think you and I were writing Angular. Sorry, Nick's nickname is Shock.
Yeah, it's
you and I were
been
writing
a
it
while
back
since
in the
I've
day.
touched that. Been a while since I've touched Angular.
What's a GM run like? What do you guys write for the actual screens?
So a lot of that's now starting to move towards Figma, is what we're really focusing on for like our UX and design. But
What's
I don't know
the
too much
actual
more outside
code
of
get
that.
implemented in, do you know?
I don't. I should know, but I don't.
It was
I'll put that on my
I'm just a
2024 list.
project manager. Leave me alone, right?
I just try to make sure we get the product released and actually can sell vehicles. That's my goal.
nice.
That's right.
I just found the tweet that I was thinking about. It was VTest support. If you want, it's in the private chat. If you want to show that. And he's sharing Nick Taylor's blog post, who works with Becca.
Nice.
Yeah, so they're getting VTest, and he said he was working on Vite support. So I think he's working on a separate svelte kit type of thing for Angular, like a meta framework for Angular.
Yeah. So he was working on like I believe not signals. Oh my gosh, it's in.
I know, I can't remember the name of it.
Analog.
Analog. Okay.
But I think the way that analog, the big win there is that I think analog does file-based routing, which is incredible, if you
Yeah.
ask me. I just talked to Josh. I need to have him on too. This is kind of fun to go to this view. We're a little packed. Oh, Cedric, I'm sorry. I didn't even see you came back. My bad.
No worries.
Sorry,
Snuck in.
I wasn't paying attention either.
Brittany's like always on top of this stuff. So yeah, that gets us up through February,
I
even
have
though
too
we
many
keep
screens now.
jumping forward. Let's see. Yeah, I gotta close some of this stuff. Here we go. Dart. Do we care about Dart as a web development community?
I don't know much about Dart.
Look at all everybody's face. They're like, no. So I think I do have to talk about it because of Flutter. Anyone Flutter fans in the house?
I mean,
Might need to go find my Googlers.
Yeah.
So every time I have this conversation about like React Native with folks and like Flutter, they're like React Native all the way, and I'm like, oh, tell me more, please, because like the Google team is so like for Flutter is unbelievable.
maybe I'm stepping ahead here a bit, but didn't the founder of Flutter join Apple and is trying to push for a new standard in websites where instead of using HTML, it's using basically the Flutter engine. So you can create basically a website based on Flutter without having to load or insert any HTML. It's a radically different approach, and a proposal is being made. But I forgot the founder's name. But maybe I'm stepping ahead here a bit.
That's crazy.
It's super interesting, but I'm really not sure if it works because that breaks a fundamental piece of the web, mainly that HTML. Like everything is built on those assumptions, right?
So originally when they first released Flutter for the web version of it, it only used Canvas, and you can still turn that on. And it's great for rendering and stuff like that, obviously. But yeah, it loses like all accessibility and everything like that in it. And then like I don't know, their versions are really messed up. When they went to like a much more like 2 years later, when you did web now, it actually produces full HTML out of it. So I'm kind of curious, like at what point did he shift and go somewhere else?
Kind of what I was going to ask, because the browser, if it's running in a browser, would need to read HTML. It can't read Flutter code. So is it going to compile that to those native elements?
I believe what the proposal was, but I haven't fully read it, is that like that part will actually be not true anymore, where the browser doesn't need HTML anymore. It can just load whatever specification that was described. Like maybe
and of course that will be in Safari only for 5 years before anybody else.
I'm just trying to remember, what was that company who stood up on stage and was like, we're not going to support, Flash anymore. I feel like we've been here.
Was that Adobe?
That's Midwest humor right there, folks. Yeah.
And then there was another like Silverlight. Oh yeah, that was the other one that crashed and burned. And they ran very similar to that.
I gotta tell you, Silverlight was awesome for what it was, but
it's Microsoft's version of Flash. Like we've been
what
here.
Was
we've
the
done this.
Company that said that about Flash?
Apple.
Apple killed Flash essentially.
And
Steve Jobs stood up on stage and was like, "We will not support Flash on the iPhone."
Okay, yeah,
and then
I do remember that.
75% of the world was like, "Sweet, we're so sick of it." And then like the 25% of Flash developers were like, "Shit."
We're like, you just put us out of a job.
And within a year, it was irrelevant.
Gone. Yeah, It's crazy.
So as we move into June, the hot take there was React Server components were on a big resurgence. Who's using them? That's what I want to know.
When did they come out?
I still don't even know. Are they technically, Cedric? You probably know this. Are they technically fully supported in React yet?
Yeah,
Even though
so
Next.js is like
Only in
powering
Next.js.
forward.
this is something interesting that is like basically dividing the React community as well. Like, I would say this proposal comes from Meta, but it looks like it's coming from Vercel in this case, where Next.js was the first and only for a while where they actually supported React Server components. But due to lack of documentation, it was like pretty hard to actually figure out what needs to be done on the framework side to support it, right? So I think that has been fixed now, and things like I think Remix is working on a proposal similarly to support a version of React Server components. And well, us Expo being a React Native platform, we are working towards being able to work on React Server components, but we are stuck with a bundler called Metro, and there have been progress on Vite. There have been there are versions of Webpack, but we are basically implementing all the features that needs to be there, like bundle splitting, in Metro in order for us to like even be able to work on React Server components. But I'm pretty sure we're there soon.
Yeah. I think like some of the React core team members left Meta and Vercel swooped them up and like to build like the fundamental things of React into Next.js. And it seems like new features of React are just supported in Next.js, and it's kind of a monopoly over there. I forgot about Remix even, which is like I haven't heard much about Remix this year.
It's been Shopify'd. Shaq and
They
I were
got
just
bought
talking
by
about it
Shopify last year, right?
Yeah, I think that was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're like that's kind of their core at this point. That's all where their money is. It's always like whoever picks these up, what they want to actually do with them and where they're heading, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just being awesome. I have in my notes.
Does that change how anybody here thinks about a framework when like Shopify picks up Remix? Like I not that they have any ill intentions, but I would just take pause and go, where's the motive? Like,
Well,
and am I best suited for their motive?
I think the only one that's really not owned by a owned is like in quotes because they're open source things, but the only one that's really not is Astro at this point, because Svelte and Next are both Vercel. Remix is Shopify.
Yeah, but at least for cells, like they're aligned with their business is aligned with developers, where Shopify is aligned with e-commerce.
Yeah. Okay.
Like I would tend to be like, oh, well, it's going to turn into an e-commerce thing. Not that they're going to do that, but it would just be like this thing on my shoulder going, I'm not sure if it's
they may not do the right
aligned.
thing for me, the developer. They may do the right thing for Shopify, the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anyone else tried a Remix up in my top right?
We use it for the virtual coffee site, but I'm not the primary maintainer there. And we switched over. What were we? We were 11T before. I think maybe we were 11. We might have been Next.js at some point. So we've gone through some iterations, but I feel like this has been the longest consistent thing that we've been using.
I did use Remix them last summer.
I think Remix like big push is run server side rendered for everything essentially. Like
only server side.
Right. That's kind of their core capability. And now Guillermo and Next is pushing for server side rendered everything, even though 5 years ago he was like static everything. So it's kind of interesting how the pendulum swings. Now we're going to be writing PHP again. And
no,
that's where we'll end up.
I'm going to be writing Svelte because it'll compile to whatever you want.
Yeah. Wow, man, on the Svelte wagon. I like it. Redwood JS is in my notes for React server components as well. How many people tried? Fans? What are we getting here?
Oh, we don't have Amy here. We need Amy in the.
I invited. She was traveling, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think I tried Redwood one time. It used to also be on the server side only boat. I think they have come along to like being able to do static at this point. But it's kind of like an all-in-one tool. So you get Storybook, you get your backend with GraphQL. You just get the whole picture rather than just like some pieces and routing. You
Sure.
get more than that.
Anybody else been in that community? Not much. I know, like when I first checked out Redwood, they were full spa. So
They do like open community meetings in their Discord, which I think is really cool. I wish more people would do that, just having like open meetings for the community to join in and talk about features and things that are coming. So, and Tom's great. So,
I don't know why I just thought of this, but has anybody seen Colby Fayak's Christmas card thing?
no.
I'll look for it as we're chatting here, so you guys can all use it and send a Christmas card to your family. What do we have here? Oh yeah, I wanted to bring this up to see like how Brittany's reaction goes. So everybody focus in.
No, don't focus in on me.
The unofficial Felt 4 launch.
Oh, yeah.
Your feelings.
Yeah. Because I read this after we were putting together our list, and I was like, I love Bytes and I love Tyler. And actually, Lynn Fisher's working for them too, like doing their designs and stuff. So I love everybody that works there, but they didn't include, they said there wasn't a Svelte 4 launch party, and we have had a Svelte 4 launch party. I'm like, you missed that in the blog post that you linked?
They called it the officially unofficial Svelte 4 launch party. I don't know.
You have the
felt
Svelte
official.
Kitty, because I want to talk about that for a minute too. Do you have that up?
Do I have what?
Svelte Kitty.
Oh, the bicep thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
I literally want to get this tattooed. Their latest newsletter. This is the newsletter that Bytes.dev puts out weekly, something like that.
Yeah.
And Svelte Kitty is the latest one. And it's amazing.
Brittany, I will pay for your tattoo if you go get this.
Okay. But yeah, Svelte 4 came out. So Svelte 4 is the hard release. They did a lot of behind the scenes work, but doing that, they moved to Node 18 support only, and you have to rip out anything that is CommonJS. So any packages that you have that are even CommonJS are very hard to migrate over to ECMAScript modules. And but this is like paving the road for Svelte 5 next year.
Can someone like explain to me the difference on TypeScript imports and ECMAScript imports? They look the same to me, and it confuses me every day.
Import type instead of import?
No, like import curly brace thing inside from, like that syntax is almost the same as ECMAScript, right?
It is ECMAScript, but you're importing it as a type.
Never mind. It's a bad.
Maybe
bad
I don't understand what
question.
you're saying. Yeah.
It's all good. We're good. So I left off in like July timeframe. Oh wait, there's I will remember.js. So ember.js did something. Anybody hanging out in Ember world these days? Not I.
That's not the one. Elixir's the one. I was like thinking about Elixir and Phoenix, but Ember's different. What is Ember?
I think it's another framework, I believe.
Yeah, I'm sure it's another framework because we have like 500 of them.
It was funny when we were doing the Svelte hangout. They said that they had killed off what is now Lit, right? No, what's Polymer for web components. That blew my mind.
Zag is the thing. I was thinking of Zag earlier. Zag.js is the web component thing that it doesn't have Svelte support though.
I think what else am I missing? I'm gonna throw it over to you guys because I think we've kind of covered on, we bounced around a little too much probably, but what did you guys do in 23 that like amazed you or you want to talk about? I'm so curious. It's hard to think back. That's why we do this show. It's so much fun to like think about all the things that we've done.
I think Becca keynoted that conference in Texas, right?
That's,
were you in
yes,
the
the highlight of my year. I was in January of last year keynoting that conference. It's probably my all-time favorite talk I've ever given. So thanks, Clark.
It was a
You guys
really
want to
cool.
describe that conference for people that
you brought it to
have never
tears.
been to it?
Clark, do you want to describe that conference?
No, I want you to describe it.
We were actually talking about this in virtual coffee yesterday because our back pocket topic. So we have small room, small group conversations, but we always have a back pocket topic in case like everybody just comes, so we're not staring at each other. And so we were talking about conferences, and somebody brought up that conference. It wasn't even me, and just saying like what a great experience it is because it's different than other conferences, and that it's like it's prioritizes community and connections, right? So whereas other conferences, you might just go, you might not even like click or gel with anybody there. You might feel isolated in that experience if you don't know anyone. That conference does a really great job of providing that community experience, connecting people, and then also providing like opportunities for people who aren't speakers. And so I really love the open spaces where you can kind of just like get together with a group of people and interact and, you know, have these conversations that you wouldn't have otherwise. And it's like a nice, so you have your main talks, you have the hallway track where everyone's getting together, and then you have those, but then also there's like a whole family track of things. So like you can bring your whole family, there's something for everyone. And it's like really great to see the kids giving talks too, or showcasing things or talking about the things that they're proud of. So it's just a really positive experience for everybody that goes, and the food is stellar too.
Sorry.
We just rolled out a whole new kind of networking ability on the site to where you can exchange. If you're at the conference, you can exchange PIN numbers now with anybody. And if you're on the site, you can now connect with folks.
Is that like down here? This little
No, that's me. And everybody thinks that's AI, but no, that's a real human. No, if you go to just go to Texas.
You have Texas coming up too next month, right?
Oh God, yes. And then if you go to the top, we now push up.
Sorry, up here.
Yeah, we now made attendees at an equal kind of level with everybody else. So this is everybody who's publicly said that they're coming, and you can go to any person that you want and request to connect with them.
Oh, no way.
Wow.
And do a
That's
contact
incredible.
exchange.
That is really awesome. That's a great way to connect people that are going to the same conference too. They can see like who's going to be there. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
If anyone hasn't checked out David Neal's artistry work, it's pretty unbelievable. He's been working on some stuff for me that for CodingCat, it's unreal.
I already see
He needs
a
to
couple
update his
people.
company there.
Oh,
Yep, he needs
yeah.
to update that.
Ooh,
Oh yeah. Got laid off, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he's somewhere else. I can't remember where he ended up landing, but
It's a database company.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I just read it too.
I think he actually found out that he was laid off right before he gave his talk at that conference this summer.
Oh yeah,
Like
that's
right.
the
He did.
absolute worst time.
Oh my goodness, that's fun. All these layoffs at the worst time. Those Spotify people that were like 8 months pregnant, they laid her off. Like, oh, I
Oh
can't even
my goodness.
Ugh.
Yeah, these companies laying people off in December needs to stop. That's when I got laid off. This time last year is when I got laid off. Like, just stop doing it in December or November. November, December, off limits. Like, don't do it.
What if you had to lay off your staff in December, but you told them in October?
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Okay, thank you. Because
Yeah, not fine, but like it'd be a better way to handle it.
At least they could be looking for something else during that time. If you lay somebody off right now, they can't start looking for a job till 2 weeks into January because
Yeah, at
no
least.
one is around.
And then it's gonna take 4 weeks to get through interviews, and like you're talking March before they start working.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
So I think I was laid off end of January last year. Well, it was after that conference. So maybe it was early February that I was laid off, which I mean, obviously it's not great to ever be laid off, but it was just like
Right.
out of the blue. I mean, I guess there were a lot of red flags, but it was like there was no indication from the company that layoffs were coming.
Same. Yeah.
And then it just
Nikki T, we were just talking about you, bud.
Nick.
I think Becca has pushed Nick to do blogging, is what I read, and he has taken that to heart because I feel like every time I open up Twitter or Dev2, there's a blog post out there, which is
He
unbelievable.
was writing before we worked together, but he's blogging
Right.
at a more regular cadence now.
I
which
guess
I
what I'm saying
appreciate.
is I don't think Nick sleeps, which props to you. Like,
No,
it's
he doesn't.
He has a great system with like doing a stream, writing a blog post, and like publishing that, and then publishing it out as like dev.to as his CMS and pulling all that into all the places, and it's amazing.
I don't know how he does. That's why I attempt to do, but then I'm like, oh yeah, work is kind of too much.
Automation.
Oh my gosh, he automates that.
I
Nick,
think
why
so.
aren't you on our show? Someone send him our StreamYard link. Let's talk to Nick. I don't know why I didn't.
I was still trying to see where David Neal is, and I can't
I'm a
find it.
vampire. Sorry, someone sent me a tweet about something. Let's see here. Finally found Flutter. I totally apologize, Cedric. Here we go. Here is the tweet. I'm gonna have to make it ginormous.
I'm sorry, it was hard for me to find it, but this is an interesting thing that everybody should read and form your own opinion on it.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Speaking of,
So he's staying with the open source project, just not working for Google anymore.
Yes,
I'm
correct.
surprised Google's allowing that.
Oh, I don't think they can kind of push people out of the open source projects like that. I don't believe
But
so.
if you had a contract with them and they had like an NDA and said that you couldn't work on something that we created internally.
Yeah, but Flutter's not an internal project.
Oh, it
so
wasn't? Okay.
No,
I misunderstood that.
no, it's all good. The WASM side of this, though, like I do think WebAssembly is something to talk about from a performance standpoint on the web. I mean, we all,
Oh,
or
yeah.
many of us, use Figma every day, right? So
they also, I mean,
Yes.
you were asking earlier about other big things that shipped. I mean, Google shipped IDX, so their venture in competing with code.
Speaking
100%.
about Figma, like there was big news the other day about Adobe and Figma. Like that is so surprising. And it wasn't due to like the companies, it was due to the EU saying like, we don't allow that. We're not going to allow that. It's crazy.
Well, it's not 100% the EU only. Like, I think the US, I forgot what organization is doing it, but they also were investigating. They did not have like the go ahead. So
Gotcha.
the EU is like a bit more noisy nowadays, and I apologize for that as being an EU citizen.
I actually think it's good for them. I'm glad that they were like making Apple do the right thing for some stuff. Yeah,
that's true.
I'm
That's
for
true.
it.
That's true. But I'm not sure how well this will unfold for Figma itself.
I
think
feel like it's such a shame. Like, I know I don't know the EU side of things. I know more the US side of things, which was they were a major blocker. And I think for the reasons of it has the potential to become a monopoly. It's like what is that? It's not even it. How are we going to make rulings based on the potential that may happen in the future? That's not how things are supposed to work. And all of those people at Figma that were ready for this merger, and then suddenly it's like, well, sorry, it's killed. Now you don't have what you thought.
the only positive I can say out of it is that at least they got $1 billion.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was
like,
going to say too.
at least they're not completely dead. And like, I'm sure they spent 8 months both on financial work and like development
Does-
work and everything else.
Do we
Before
think that,
before we get too carried away, hi Nick.
oh,
Like,
hi
I
Nick.
forgot. Sorry, how's it going? The other Nick. There's two Nicks.
Yeah. Oh, there's another Nick. Oh, hi. Yeah. Hey, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thanks for bringing me up. I got a little sad before I just came up to the stage because I was like, oh, my coffee's empty. But
Oh.
I can't leave the stream now.
No,
so
you can step away while we're
away.
talking.
We'll bring you
I'm
back
just
in.
gonna smell the cup and like remember it was there. So
Does
I
that
caught you on a live stream the other night, Nick. You were speaking French. I was like, oh, this might not be for me.
wow?
oh yeah. No, I'm from Montreal and I've been bilingual since a kid. Like you don't have to go in French immersion, but like my parents put me in French immersion in kindergarten and all through elementary and high school. And like I went to a private school and you used to actually get detentions if you spoke English before grade 9. They were called the points d'anglais, which are like English points basically. But which is hitting a little too close to the politics in Quebec. But anyways,
That's
but
how my
yeah.
son's school is too. He's in Spanish immersion, and they always got demotions or whatever
Oh,
when
yeah.
they hear him speak
Yeah.
English. So
I mean, to be fair, I got detentions for just speaking English, but it was the words that came out of my mouth.
Regular in English school.
Yeah.
yeah. Not to put you on the spot, Clark, but I totally forgot when we were going through that conference. There's mentions of maybe something being given away possibly today.
Yeah,
Not to put you on the spot though.
I'll give away a couple tickets. I don't know how to facilitate that that exchange of things, but I'll let you.
If
I'll let
you
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 and
can
Brittany.
fax them.
If
Yeah,
you drop
fax 'em.
some things in the private chat, we'll get them out to the website, and I assume once they're taken type of thing.
I did want to ask before we get too far off of it, the Figma thing, does that stop any company from ever buying Figma because they've now got this ruling there that's like, you can't do this?
I think it's going to have to be a non-Adobe where the product market isn't
Yeah.
so saturated.
Jeez.
So does that mean like
Like
the
Sketch
pretty
probably can't do
awesome
it.
people over at Serif could buy them? Because I'd like that integration and
Yeah.
just kick that Adobe shit out of the way.
That would be pretty interesting for sure. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think we've come to 10 o'clock where we're supposed to be doing 2024 predictions.
Oh, well, we didn't finish the year.
Oh, I thought we did, didn't we?
You got to
We're
July.
like
or something.
July.
I said we like bounced around too much because like a lot of the other stuff like Astro went to 4.0, so we can
kind of talked
definitely
about.
I've got a question for everybody.
Yeah.
It's the end of 2023. AI's been a big ass deal this year.
yeah.
How have you all taken AI on in your daily whatever?
Yeah, I can jump in. It's for me, I can't even do work without it anymore. It's crazy. But in the same sense of that, where I work, so for my CodingCat stuff, I can't do it. At FusionAuth, due to our lawyers, we are not allowed to use AI for anything. And we
Okay.
can't produce even like written word based on it. So it's a little bit more challenging on that side. But from
Is that-
CodingCat, from
Is
like
that
a
lawyers
ideation-
just punting?
Yeah, totally. It's totally gonna be like whatever the courts ruled, blah blah blah. That'll end up because basically, I think that the CEO is like, I don't want to have to peel back stuff, and I don't want stuff in our core and things like that. So
Okay.
no GitHub Copilot, no nothing. Like we
Oh,
can't use
wow.
anything at work. And since we're a
That-
security company, it's a big deal.
Is a
And
good
then you're
point.
like-
because
Yeah.
And then you're
What were
like,
you gonna say?
Stack Overflow's existed for like a decade now, and people have been
Yeah.
copying
Yeah.
shit from there.
Copy
was
paste
gonna
is
say-
cool. It's when AI copies it for you. They're like, you didn't.
It was just a little
I
too
don't-
automated.
I don't use AI very much because I don't find it super helpful. It's helpful for like creating Jira stories, like bullet point things, lists like this list, but Copilot, I don't think I could live without Copilot at this point.
Oh wow. Becca, I think you wanted to jump in there. I saw you.
I mean, I use it all the time. Like, one of the greatest tips that someone gave me was to use it to check my kids' math homework. Like, that's fantastic. It saves me so much time. Take a screenshot of it.
Oh yeah, you
It
were
checks
talking
it, and then it tells
my
me
gosh.
like, this is how she should do this problem. And I'm like, sweet. Now this, but I mean, like I do it. I'll put a whole brain dump in there of ideas, and I'm like, okay, organize this, categorize this, give me key takeaways, and then it makes me so much more efficient in my thought process, being creative, getting stuff out there, because I don't have to go back and do that work that I find boring.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good starter to like ideas and things like that. Can you slip the name of that program into the comments so we can put it on screen and then I can remember it later?
I use ChatGPT for it.
Oh, for the screenshots of the math homework?
Yep.
No way.
Yeah, they take images now, and they actually have ChatGPT has DALL-E integrated as well now too.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
I don't know if that's in the free tier. I pay for it because
that's the other thing I was going to say is I don't pay for it yet.
I gotta show you guys like what I was messing with last night. So we had
for it at this point.
I had a video made years ago from a company, and it was just so bad I couldn't go with it. And I'm like, I wonder if I pipe that in. And this is what ChatGPT started.
Oh
like
my god, that's adorable!
And I was like, no, like make them happy, not sad. This is for like logo stuff, and like I keep going back, and then I'm like, don't show its teeth. Like I kept telling it, don't show teeth, and then it just gets
That's like major Cheshire cat.
I mean,
you gotta use the negative prompt there. You gotta use the negative prompt to make sure
that is what I feel like. If you start trying to rip things out of it and tell it to
use the
not
negative prompt. What's that?
They look high in every photo.
That's why we use it. That's why we use it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, they do.
There, they got the munchies right there.
No, that's where they're trying to do the online order.
Yeah.
Wait, who said the negative thing? How do I do a negative?
No, I said like if you start trying to pull things out of it.
Yeah, like there's a certain prompt that you can use to actually I can't remember it off the top of my head, but you can actually
how do I use a negative prompt?
Yeah, and it'll make sure that it does not include that into the mix.
I'll do that sometimes with like if Svelte it's especially bad at, and I think because the data that it was fed was like ended in 21, and I feel like things have just changed so much. But if you try to tell it no, not this way, do something else, it just gives you more of the stuff you don't want.
So this negative prompt.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time on that with the Leonardo AI, and yeah, it's definitely the way to go.
Speaking of AI, Versal dropped their little create components or whatever from
the V0, right?
V0,
yeah.
Have you guys tried it? I've tried it a few times.
Yeah, I've used a few of it.
Have you?
Yeah,
just as a starting point. I mean, some of this stuff I'm interested in. I'm intrigued by the code that gets output in some of those scenarios, and then to look at it and go, I never really thought about doing it that way.
Interesting.
So here's some of my I prompted it for.
Yeah, I find a lot of the stuff with AI, I use it as starting points, whether that whatever it is, whether it's code or like I never like generate a blog post from it. Like I might say like like maybe it generates something and then I'll read it and then I might pull some stuff from it, but it's not really good at looking like authentic writing because it's not authentic writing. But it's definitely, and I've been using Cassidy Williams she shared Brain Story. Yeah, I actually use that to create a blog post, and it's pretty neat. I think it's brainstory.ai, and it's not so much about write me a blog post about topic X. It's really it's kind of like a buddy of yours as you're talking, and like, oh, well, you know, what's the theme of this, or like what points would you like to highlight? So it's really more prompting you to just talk through what you want to do. And so it's AI, but not like AI in the sense that it's really generating your blog post. It's just kind of parroting back what you've said by them prompting you. That's kind of the way I've seen it. I've
Yeah.
used it a couple times. It's pretty neat.
It's almost like a
Um,
coach, like sitting beside you.
Yeah,
And you're
exactly.
literally speaking to it too. So like you can hold down the mic and be like, "Hey, I'm thinking about writing this course tutorial, blah 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 blah." And it's like, "Well, have you thought about this? And what do you think about that?" I'm like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
Yeah, I use this stuff the same way. I just found another tool called Blaze, and I haven't tried it out yet. I've just been kind of perusing around it.
Ooh, I
but
like their site. That's pretty.
It's very much the same thing.
Okay.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'll have to check this out.
Really cool.
Oh, a brand voice.
Yeah.
That's what we.
Yeah,
need.
they have a very kind of opinionated view of like trying to help you create things. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I
looks
like
dope.
the aesthetic of that
Oh.
site. It's kind of like
Mhm.
cartoonish, kind of, but like a comic book cartoonish.
Oh yeah.
It's a nice aesthetic.
Sorry, this is my screen now. I had another topic and I was gonna wait, and then you just put it on.
There
I
we
was
go.
trying to
So we're talking about container queries now.
Yeah, I was like looking up things that have come out in CSS because we haven't talked about CSS at all, and it was a huge year for
It really
CSS.
was.
I
Yeah.
mean, like some really big things. So we got container queries, new viewport unit, CSS nesting, individual transform properties, inset property, accent color property, which I may need to look more into, gap property for Flexbox. I use this so much now. Logical properties, inline and block. I use those all the time. Margin inline.
I love that has is like in everything.
Has
Yeah,
is
just dropped in
finally supported in
Firefox, yeah.
Firefox.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has pretty dope because there's
I'll link this blog post out for everyone.
Does anyone know what the UC browser for Android is? Because that's the only thing it's not in the filtered list on Can I Use? I don't know what that is.
it's got to be Chromium like mobile. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, like Universal Chromium or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But
Yeah, I tried
yeah,
to get Jay on. He would have,
Okay.
prompted us for CSS stuff for the year.
He would
Yeah.
have. And
Adam Argyle was traveling as well, or doing dad time. That's what it was. He's doing dad time.
Jay had a big shift this year. He left Google and then joined Vercel of all. I was like, what?
That blew my mind.
Yeah.
It blew my mind
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I think I don't want to speak for him, but like he's super talented. Like he's always putting out just amazing things. Like I had him on the Dev2 Twitch stream a couple times, and the demos he does are bonkers. Like for example, like he'll do like there's this one I remember. He's got a ton, obviously, but there's one that was really cool where you have like range sliders that you can use on a form. And so he had this like truck, and as you slid the range, it turned the truck into like a monster truck wheels and stuff. And and it's like they're super cool and ridiculous demos, but it conveys like I just love that he does that because it just conveys so well what these things do, And it's,
I just linked his code pen and just go to like peruse his code pen. Even the like header image is insane.
Yeah, there's just so many cool
Oh, I
ones.
see your Optimus Prime toggle.
Oh yeah, the Optimus Prime is bonkers. Like literally
I'm pretty sure Jay's head works differently than other people's though, because like conceptually I'm like, oh, that's cool, but then for you to change that into like code to make it do that thing, I'm like, what?
So ridiculous.
Yeah. It's also like her real name's escaping me, but Lynn Tonic. She works at Bytes.dev now. She used to work at Netlify.
We were talking about that earlier before you got here.
Yeah, the one div, like the stuff she does is bananas too. Yeah, Optimus Prime here. Oh my god, like
I don't even know what to say.
SVG? and like
It's
CSS.
HTML and CSS.
That's HTML and CSS.
Yeah, there's not
Yeah.
even like SAP or anything.
I didn't need to see this because I just feel absolutely
amazing.
like shit about my entire 25 years as an engineer.
Totally same.
It's amazing.
Wait, so there's no JavaScript in here?
No,
None. Zero.
it's
I don't even
Like-
understand.
yeah. Well, if you scroll down in the CSS, because like the stuff that you see there is somewhat like there's a clipping going on there in position absolute, but I'm sure there's some magic further down, like with either has or something in the CSS or
He's so good at naming his layers and like commenting everything out, like so you know what's going on too. You
Oh
can
my
look at
God.
any of these and figure it out
Are
pretty.
you sure
yeah.
like some of this wasn't generated? That's just like too much.
No, he does
Well,
that.
yeah. And
That's
you can use it's built into VS Code and it's built into here too in CodePen. It's and what's
Hip
it called? If you
flexor.
if for example, if you delete that HTML for a second and you just type in question mark and then press tab,
Like all of it? Just do that?
yeah, just question mark. No, sorry, not question mark, exclamation mark, then tab.
Oh, like the boilerplate? Yeah.
Yeah,
Emmet.
what's it called? Emmet,
Emmet.
thank you. Yeah, so you can say like generate, an li times 5 and it'll generate 5. So like I'm sure he uses that when he's doing these things too, because but yeah,
This
it's
puts my code pen to shame.
I'll never create a code pen anymore.
I know.
if we're feeling bad, we'll say,
Here's
yeah,
our
Jay, you
snow
did Optimus, but can you do Bumblebee?
Oh my gosh, you created a shaking snow.
This is from Learn with Jason. What's her name? She's the GSAP DevRel.
Oh,
Cassidy
Cassidy Evans, I think.
Yes, thank you, Cassidy Evans.
Yeah.
She was showing how to do a snowman. I'm like, I'd like to shake around AJ. That'd be fun. So I was gonna put it on the site, but got lazy. So Jason Torres, thanks for coming around. I can't even send her a div. Yeah, Autobots attack. Oh my goodness.
I feel like Una, I almost said it wrong,
Yeah.
but Una
Wow.
just put out yesterday that Justify Content Center Align Content Center is now available without Grid or Flexbox, which is also really, really cool.
I don't even
Oh,
understand.
okay. So you can just put it on an element. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any
Okay, that's-
element. I think
Yeah.
it's for like centering anything, but it was created for text.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So they probably saw in userland, like everybody, like, I'm going to do display grid, place content center. And they're like, well, why don't we just, make that easier?
I mean, to be fair, it's been like the thing we've been complaining about for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like the ongoing joke that never stops.
Yeah. Let's go back to table layout.
Yeah, like has anyone done email designs lately? It's still
It's
table
horrible.
layouts.
God, it's horrible.
Yeah. It is, but and I had to do some when I worked at Dev too, but at Open Source, my coworker Isa, we're using Resend, and they have like a really great React integration, which makes like all those pain points of email for HTML email like less painful. So
Yeah, that's
that was
pretty cool.
Resend's good
posted
stuff.
the tweet in the chat.
I've been trying to move towards MailChimp, and I'm realizing why I never wanted to touch it. So I'm quickly running away. I think we should shift to what we think is going to happen in 2024. And I just want to prompt it with, I feel like no code, low code is appearing more and more. What are you guys using it for? Have you used it?
I think that's the running thing every year, but the real question is, where does AI really start to come into play?
So I think like Steve from Builder.io, where I used to work, they've got some cool stuff where Figma, they're designing stuff and like turning it over. I'm waiting for AI, like the V0 side of that, just to create me something. Chuck,
Yeah.
you're making some sites, some e-commerce, kind of messing around. What do you use?
Yeah.
Symboli, right?
Yeah, Symboli is what we're using to host the coffee site. but looking to transition that to possibly something new. Really like what Symboli does. It's just very easy, point and click, drag type of getting things going, and you can spin up a site really quick.
And I think they have their AI text assistant to do stuff too, right?
I have not used their AI just because I'm so infatuated with so many others. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, they do have something there, but it's just not as fully baked as some of the other solutions that I'm using right now.
Have you compared that at all to Framer?
No,
I haven't
not
touched
yet.
Framer in a long time.
I've
Tell
never
me
really-
more, Clark.
I was just curious. I mean, it's very much the same. I've heard a lot. I continue to hear people with Framer and using it to generate sites. And
I think Amy Dutton uses Framer a lot. She's big into the low code space too. James Quick, who's her co-host on Compressed FM, just launched a swag shop using Wix Studio, and
Oh,
I know
nice.
I put that link in the private chat if you wanted to show it. But oh yeah, there you go. And then there's the link for the chat.
Is it
Okay, Framer.
this?
Yeah,
Ooh, I like the fade in images.
and that is the logo I designed. So
Nice.
Oh, I like it with the pencils because it used to be just the slash, right?
I think it's always been that, hasn't it?
Or was it? I maybe it's so tiny, and when I see it in Discord, I just
oh
never
yeah,
realized.
I think it's always been the pencil. Sometimes he does a different variation of it,
Okay.
but it's like the code brackets with a pencil in the middle.
Yeah, no, I see it. I won't unsee it now, but like in Discord, I thought it was just like kind of like a shadow or something of the slash. I couldn't tell, honestly.
Oh
but
yeah,
it
we
looks
really need one of these shirts to just have the logo, and then I'll buy one.
yeah. I know. I was like, I wish one of the shirts had the logo on it.
Yeah, like put learn, build, teach like that in big block on the back, but then put the pencil on the front. I'd love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like I start to like go down this path of I just wrote Svelte all day for CodingCat, and then someone just clicks, drops, and you're in, and I'm like, am I doing the right thing anymore? I struggle with that, especially when you can export out to a full framework now. So that's
Yeah.
kind of I'm curious where it's going to head between like AI prompting that and then being able to create a full site, and then it drops me into Svelte framework or Svelte kit. Like,
Yeah.
it's a win-win-win for me.
Yeah,
I
that
can go
mitosis
walk around to
thing-
every mom and pop shop around here and say, "You need a new site."
Yeah.
I saw
guess it
my
depends.
Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
buddy. I was just gonna say, I guess it depends where you're coming from. We're all devs, so like we want to be able to open the escape hatch, but for somebody who isn't a dev necessarily, like they're probably okay living in Wix or Webflow or whatever. But yeah, I would totally, like you're saying, Alex, if I were to use something like that, I'd want to be able to export it or like somehow sync it and still be able to, make the changes like I'm used to. But
Yeah. Brittany,
I
what were you gonna say?
I saw mitosis just like plopped into a blog post about design systems. Here's the link to that the other day. Like people are just starting to use these kind of tools, and mitosis isn't AI, but like generating stuff for all kinds of frameworks is like relevant to pretty much everybody.
I talk about mitosis all the time.
It's like halfway
So
down.
basically, you write in JSX. At least you used to. I don't know if it's changed, but you write in JSX, and it can output to any code. So
Well, they have there's like a block quote that talks about mitosis, and it's not accessible. I posted about this on Twitter last night because I was like, there it is.
oh yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, I was like, this is a site that talks about accessibility, and we're putting inaccessible text on.
So fun fact: the
they
Smashing
have
magazine.
spelltosis. That's what I was going to say. They have spelltosis, so you can actually write Svelte and get it back to any other framework if you need. That's also inaccessible. Their logo on that black background is inaccessible.
Yeah.
We have a designer in the house, folks. Whether she wants to claim that title anymore or not.
Well, accessibility is for everyone.
Jay's in the chat.
Jay, I thought you were going to join us. Where are you, Jay?
Yes.
Somebody send
And
him
you
a link.
see your name. Yeah, we were talking about how amazing your stuff is.
Yeah, he's like the Candyman of CSS and web dev.
Here, I'll try to send him a link again. We'll see if Jay responds. There it is.
Don't
It's-
show your DMs on screen,
yeah,
Alex.
it's going out on Twitter.
Yeah.
There's got to be a toggle where I can say I'm streaming. Don't show my Twitter comments, please. But I mess it up every time. What I'm gonna have to start doing is I have a recording browser only, so it doesn't have all my extensions and stuff. I'm just gonna have to have a share only screen. Oh, is that what you guys were talking about? The Candyman? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, Yuri's in the chat too.
Yeah, Yuri was here a little earlier too. It's awesome.
Yeah. But
very
the mitosis is really cool. I did a live stream with Sammy, who works at Builder, which and
Sammy's a super cool guy, by the way. He's great.
yeah. No, it's totally random because like he doesn't live in Montreal anymore, but when I was working at Netlify, I kind of connected with David D. I'm saying his name wrong because I'm mixing it up with the handle, but from Solid.js, the core team, Dave
Blaze.
I don't want to say DiBiase because he's not a wrestler. It's Dave D-Base on Twitter. I'm escaping his last name's escaping me at the moment, but
I think it's Blaze, Blaise.
Yeah, maybe that's. I don't know why it's escaping me right now, but
Yeah.
he came to Montreal to do a Solid.js meetup, and then I went to that, and then I met some other people that I knew from Twitter. But then I met Sammy there, and we were talking, and I was like, oh, we grabbed a beer, and then I was like, oh, let's do a stream, and so then that's how it came about. But he moved out of Montreal. He's in Halifax now, so he's more East Coast now. So
I think this is the Dave DeBase.
yes, yeah.
I mistook that for an L.
Okay, I actually have never pronounced his last name, so that's why I thought it was DiBiase. Maybe it is. I have to ask him. I met up with him a few times this year because he's in Toronto and I was down there. And but
I think Sammy just wrote React. What is it called? Like the error message you get, a better version of that too.
Oh yeah, the hydration error. Yeah, that's
Yes.
I haven't installed it yet, but I definitely want to put that on the open source code base because
yeah,
the messages they give you some indication of what's wrong with a React hydration error, but it's not always very clear. It'll be like an image showed up instead of a div, and that's because like there was probably a loading skeleton, and then but yeah. So I'm not sure how he did it, but it definitely looks like a pretty cool tool.
Nice. I have a prediction that may have like partially come true this year, but I think it may even come more true next year, is that signals are just going to take off. And I mean, they already have, but Svelte 5 is coming with like signal integration. Angular just released a new version with signals. Solid started signals. I think that like React may catch wind that everyone is going to signals, and React may like start trying to integrate it somehow. But yeah, and Svelte 5 is coming. That's the big news of 2024 already.
Do you want to talk about runes for a second? And like,
I mean, I am not the person to talk about it because I've barely looked at it. They did like a pre-release maybe 2 weeks before they released the alpha for the ambassadors, and I looked at it at that point, and it did feel a little React-y for me at first. I was like, it looks like something out of like use state, like a hook. And so you have a $, you have state, and then you wrap it in what looks like a function, but isn't a function. Yeah. And that's how you declare your props now, instead of like, or I'm sorry, that's how you declare your state now, and makes it with that fine-grained reactivity that Signals brings to the table. And they have a few runes they've added, like derived, effect, and Jay.
Oh my gosh!
Try to turn my music down.
Christmas music.
Yeah.
Why didn't I think of that? Did I forget to put our lights?
I don't know if I turn the music down, I can't hear you. Wait,
you missed
there we go.
earlier. We were talking about you. How
yeah,
you
but that would have been boring.
And joined Vercel, and
that would have been boring.
You actually get to work with all these people we're talking about now. Do you ever talk to the Svelte people?
What's Svelte? Got him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's
I think we have 3 people working there now. We've got Rich Harris, Simon, Why am I blanking on Simon's last name? And Dominic Ganaway, but Simon. Dang it.
Yeah, it's interesting that Dominic went there because Dominic used to work on Inferno, which was like a super performant React alternative. So, and then he was working on the React core team. So it's pretty interesting.
Maybe
that
I don't
he
know
went
his
to go
last
work
name. It just says H on Twitter, so it's Simon H. I don't know his last name. It wasn't my mind just blanking. It's that I don't know it. Yeah, lots of changes in jobs.
It's been a minute since I've seen you, Jay.
Yeah, the last 3 years feels like it's gone like that.
So how's life? You got married this year?
I did. I'm still trying to post that 2020 year in review.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Steph is here. She's just like lingering around. She somewhere.
I think the last time I talked with Jay was when I bought a one wheel and thought I was 20 still and crashed and broke everything in my back.
Poke your head in. Poke your head in and say hello.
Hey.
There you go. It's real. We are. It's not all a ruse. We are actually married. It's not all AI.
It's not an AI trick, right? That was the. Jeez.
Are you forced to wear the Next.js shirt, or you just wear it by choice?
No, this. It sounds like I'm being like, hey, wear the stuff, but no, the swag game at Vercel is real.
Yeah,
I saw a swag pack delivered to somebody. I was like, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, I like. It sounds super. I don't know, biased, but like, it way exceeded my expectations when I joined. Like, I thought it would be good, but it's like way better than I thought.
That's awesome.
I was finding it amazing.
Happy
Still,
for you.
like you can pay us crazy amount of money as engineers, but the minute we get sweet swag, that's all we'll talk about. It's beyond.
I mean, yeah, that's
$10 worth of swag is way better for some reason.
It's a bonus, but I don't live in my Next.js swag every day. It's just one day I thought, this looks a little bit better if I hop on. So
I'm actually in the remix swag at the moment.
Nice.
This sweater, they handed it out at the conference. Not only does it look cool, but it is super comfortable. Like I wear it all the time, and my wife's like, put something else on, man. It's like, and then it's like somebody will see me a few days later, and they're like, "Do you wash your clothes?" I'm like, "I do." It's
I have
really
so much Netlify stuff, and I barely wear any of it anymore.
I have a Remux shirt, and I usually wear hoodies, but that's just a sweatshirt, and I wear it to bed all the time because it's so nice.
Do you remember these, Nick?
Oh yeah,
I don't know if I can get it to focus.
These
These were our bracelets. So no, when we went to Hawaii for the all hands, this was our hotel key.
Oh, nice.
And it says Netlify on the back.
I feel like I would lose that in the ocean in a heartbeat. Does it
I didn't wear my. Did I? I don't think I wore mine.
I didn't take mine off. I swam in the ocean. I snorkeled with it, and I wrestled the shark.
We actually were just talking about your snorkel. There's a short floating around about it. How awesome you are!
On Becca's podcast that we did, we were talking about that.
Making me blush on stream.
I don't have any cool swag to show off.
Yeah. I got comic books.
You were just talking all this game about the Vercel swag, and now you don't have any cool swag.
It's not to hand. Like, we have like cool mugs and stuff, but it's like,
yeah, I do have 2 Vercel mugs because they sent me one and the handle was broke, and so I got in touch with Lee and he sent me a new one. So I've got 2 Vercel mugs, and I have the next.
Which one do you have? Do you have the classic?
I have the one with the cork bottom and black handle.
That's the best one, and I can't get that one.
You can't wash it in the dishwasher, though.
Yeah, I don't use it because
I don't use it because I can't put it in the dishwasher. I'm lazy.
It'll be fine in the dishwasher.
Just hand wash it. If anything, the cork just gets a little chunky
I'm
over
lazy.
time.
I have an Auth0 like tumbler with cork bottom. That thing just goes in the dishwasher. That's fine.
I don't have a cork bottom one, but this is like my favorite tumbler to use now. And my skateboard is actually behind my Christmas picture.
Oh, you're so lucky. I tried to talk Scott into sending me that stuff. All I got was a t-shirt.
Sorry.
Oh man.
And you know what Scott is? A huge Michigan fan.
Ha ha ha. Roll Tide.
I
Sorry,
feel
sorry for those who
North
joined late.
American. I don't watch football. American football.
Oh, we have a big game coming up. You missed that conversation earlier. So January
Our
1st,
teams are-
Michigan and Alabama are playing each other. And so we have been on this rant fighting like for the last month.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't watch. I mean, I used to play rugby, and I do catch international rugby sometimes, but like even like I don't watch Canadian football. I live in Montreal, which is like hockey city, and I can barely skate, even though I built a rink in my backyard, and I think I've been to one game, but
Can't do ice skating.
and like I always crack up because like when people start talking about the Super Bowl, I don't realize it's happening, or the Grey Cup, which is the Canadian version. It's like I'll be having supper and then it's like somebody randomly says it. It's like it's just nothing against football or American or Canadian football. It's just it's not on my radar. It's
I can only do college football because there's not too many games, but like basketball and NFL are just there's too much. I can't constantly watch.
Yeah,
I have a
want
season
to,
that I
but I
watch
can't.
and care.
I watched Michigan play basketball last night, so that was good. We should probably, now that Jay's here, like we were saying, wish we had somebody like talk about CSS and predictions for 2024.
What you're gonna say, like, now I'm here, you can end
I
the call.
did do the
Cool, that's fine.
Yeah,
this
let's wrap
year's.
it up. with this.
Yeah.
No, like Brittany did a great job of what came in 23 with has and all that fun stuff. What are you excited about in 24? Reaction. That's going on a short for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I kind of now I don't really work as close with it. It's like I don't know. I'm back in the real world of being like I would rather see the things that are high value, low effort land quicker than so much effort go into the things that take forever to come down the pipeline. If that makes sense. So like Has was obviously a monumental, like that's a big game changer one, but I feel like I've made enough demos for that for a lifetime when I was writing about it and stuff. But I still got still more in the pile. But I feel like just like the real simple ones, like I posted about like the field sizing content, the auto growing text, like something like that. I mean, I wasn't working as an engineer when I worked on like for a browser, but it feels like things like that are lower effort to engineer, and it would be great if like from my perspective, like if I was looking at it from an interop, I'd love all the browsers just to be like, let's pick up all the low-hanging fruit and everyone will be really happy, and then we'll focus on these big ones that like people might go towards, because like there are things that like I've not really still dug into, like new color values and stuff. It's like okay, cool, it's
Container
there.
queries too took a long time to implement.
I use that one a lot.
Do you? I haven't really used it yet.
When I left Google and I was doing other stuff, then I was like, when I was at Google, I was like, I just don't know if I'm going to use container queries much. As soon as I left, I was like, I use them on everything now. I always find new ways to use them, and I'm like, oh, this is great. But the one that like doesn't baffle me, but the spec I worked on, the anchor positioning one, like I think when that finally comes in, the popover stuff will make more sense to everyone. Because at the moment, it's like, popover is great, but I can't position it. So it's like a half win, and it's like it doesn't support hover triggering, or it didn't in the first version, and it's like, and then it's like the whole stylable select stuff. That's also a bit like, when's it actually going to come? Yeah. I feel like the scroll animation one will be a big winner. I feel like they've kind of shifted in my mind. Like I feel like the select one will be great, but I mean, it's kind of funny really, because my wife worked on it before I even knew it existed, and then I've worked on it, and since then it's changed a lot, and it's still not in the browser.
Oh my goodness!
So, how long will it take? you know.
It's been so wild how long so many stylings for form elements. Like I remember back in the, and it was even worse in like the old days, like Internet Explorer, because they were like ActiveX components. And I remember running into these Z-index issues because you couldn't put a Z-index on an ActiveX component. It would just bleed through no matter what you did. So you had to do these hokey hacks, and I'm glad we don't have to do that anymore. but-
Popover, yeah, that's the one that like Popover just completely solves for everything. One thing that's like interesting though, because like a lot of the like the select menu stuff, there's like the free APIs, right? The anchoring, the popover, and that like goes with the select menu, and they all need to exist to work.
Yeah.
And it's a great like initiative. Like it makes sense. Like we want to see that, but it's hard because it's like it's a committee group that's open UI, and it feels like to get like stronger backing,
Yeah.
tackling some of the other form controls might have got easier buy-in. So like styling something like input type range. I think
I'm doing a radio button right now, and I did not realize how difficult that is.
yeah, like you end up right in like sibling combinator land, just doing pluses everywhere. Like that's literally how like so the universal search on Vercel, like the filter pills that I did, they're not buttons, they're radios, and it's like it's a label, but behind the scenes it's an input, and each input is obviously a plus combinator to the thing that looks like a button.
Yeah.
And then you get the keyboard controls because it's a radio, but it looks like buttons. And it's just like silly things like that. Like, yeah, it'd be nice to just, I don't know, I'd love to be able to style like input range properly. Like, just give like, I don't know, it feels like there's a nicer way to style some of the other form controls
without
like,
hacking it and losing accessibility.
Select's an interesting one because I think like it's going to be a really good one, but it's so hard to tackle because there's so many things that like on the face of it sounds great, like I'm going to do it in the web and it works nice, but then as soon as you go to a mobile browser, like, oh well, how do you actually perceive that it should, like some people might want it to look a certain way on an iPad, and like how are you going to tell the difference and stuff like that? It's like there's so many nuanced little pieces to it. Obviously I feel like it's probably evolved a little bit since I last looked at it properly, but it's like it's a really good initiative, but it's like one of them, it just takes time, and I never realized until I worked on that side like how long that stuff can take. Like, I never forget seeing the initial issue for Has in Firefox like 15 years ago.
Oh my gosh, 15 years.
That's mad.
There's some interesting like back and forth on why not to use it too. If you read through some of that spec, it's ridiculous. I have a personal like I question. So on Skeleton, I use their UI toolkit or framework, whatever you call it, and we're back and forth on like a date time picker. And I've always been huge on use the datetime local, like built in. Can you not style that thing though?
That's where like the select and the popover stuff would be really useful because you just be able to like create your own. Like that's one of the things. It's like, oh, if you could do this, it unlocks all those kind of abilities, right? That you could create these custom things. Because the issue is like you have these common UI patterns, and then someone creates it and throws a load of like JS at it to make it work, which is fine because they want it styled in a particular way, but then like it's sort of engineering it backwards and then giving it again. Like it's such a weird cycle, and it's like really tricky because then you end up in this place where like you've got your current thing that you're building, and then you're trying to match what the platform's doing at the same time, and then eventually you'll be able to like migrate it away, and it's like it's super interesting. So like even when I work on stuff now, like I might be working on something in the UI and I think like, oh, how is that actually being handled in a spec these days? Or like, how is that going to work when it becomes an actual browser element? Because then I can try and match it up to what I think it's going to be. Like it's kind of cool. I would love to see the select stuff like land. I mean, I'm happy the popover stuff started landing. That's a big win for people. But the anchoring will be a massive win. Like I think like if that finally comes in,
not having to use JavaScript for that stuff will be massive.
It feels like that should land pretty quick. I don't think like at least the first version of it like should.
Yeah.
The problem with that one is you need people to try it, to break it, to find weird ways to use it, because then it uncovers all the little like, oh, why doesn't it work when I do this? Like that's
Yeah.
kind of not like a, I guess kind of a proud moment, but like making stupid demos,
Yeah.
unearths like holes in the spec, or like
Yeah.
holes in how
Yeah.
things work. Like I always like one I always think of is anchor position, because we're talking about that, like transitioning the anchor. Like
Okay.
I did it in a demo. The demo broke a few iterations later. I was like, why does this break? And it like prompted a fix. And then I've seen people in the wild doing transitioned anchors. So it's like, sweet. Like I did something, and like internally, secretly, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, yeah, seeing that work.
I feel like you're kind of always like pushing that edge and like probably hit that use case often. So I think it's amazing that you get those.
But that's the funny thing, right? Like when I get like people be like, "Oh, what's the point?" Well, you
I
know,
am
you don't realize what the point is. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
even I might not see what the point is. Yeah, it might come later on. I found a really funny one actually the other day. When I was doing these like glow card things, because people keep asking like, "Oh, can I do that in an easy way?" I was like, "Sweet." And then I was going through like old CSS specs, and there's a property that like just got abandoned years ago, and it makes like perfect sense to be in there, but there's no reason why it isn't. Like, so this is so nerdy, but like in background, you have background attachment fixed, right? And you can fix it to the viewport, but you can't do it with a mask. And it's like, why can't you do it with a mask?
Oh,
And
interesting.
there is a mask attachment fixed, but it was abandoned in like single digit versions of browsers, but I don't know why.
Wow.
And I asked
Interesting.
Adam, like I pinged Adam's like, why doesn't this exist? And it's like, don't know. Like,
Interesting.
just
I
a mystery.
unfortunately have to go. I'm so sad, but I have a meeting in 2
no.
minutes, so I have to run. But it was so nice to see everyone, and thank
See you,
you.
bro.
I have no meetings today, I don't think, as I say
I
this.
gotta hop off in a few minutes too, because I gotta stream in about an hour. But I think one thing that's cool about like the browser landscape is uh, I don't know. I remember like when IE6 landed, it was king. It was a really good browser, but obviously, monopolization and just like no movement in the browser space really. Like Mozilla, I switched over to Mozilla at the time before it became Firefox, and then when I think Chrome came out in 2009, and I started using that for personal because I was like, man, this is fast, and I think I don't know. Like obviously there's less browser diversity to some degree now. Like I mean, we've got WebKit, we've got Chromium, and we've got what's Firefox? Is it
Gecko?
Gecko. Yeah, thanks. So there's still 3 big ones out there, but like a lot of newer browsers, like even Microsoft Edge, basically any new browser. Like I use Arc all the time. They went with Chromium, and I understand why.
I was about to say, do you use Arc? Because I tried Arc out when it came out, and I was like, it's just another browser. But then I've like, when I joined Vercel, I was like, I'll give Arc another go. I'll give it, and I actually love it now.
I see
Yeah.
so many people are using it now. So what's under the hood on Arc?
Chromium.
Chromium.
Yeah.
So
But it's just
I've been
a
using
nice-
Brave for everything, and it's amazing how many sites break on third-party scripts like shut off.
Yeah.
So it kind of blows my mind.
Brave's normally that's my primary. That's like my go-to for everything. But I use Arc as like my work browser. And
Pitch me on Arc. Like, what is the advantage there? Is it like a speed thing or like?
I think. Do you know what I think? I think it's just because it's different and it looks a bit different.
Yeah.
People are like, "Oh, this is nice." I see a really good like because browsers are like I don't know. It's hard to like differentiate yourself, right?
Right.
Like if I open Firefox and Safari to test a demo and then I tab between them, I can't tell which is which unless I hover up and I'm like, "Oh, this is Safari." Like, but just at a quick glance, I was doing that yesterday. I was like, "Oh, why isn't this working in Firefox? Oh, I'm in Safari."
Does Arc like Brave? So like Google Chrome is probably the easiest for history and stuff like that. When you're logged in, it's super simple.
Yeah.
On Brave, you have to set up like this sync thing.
I love that though. The sync thing
I
is
do
so
too.
good.
I think it's unbelievable. I think there's some weird like mobile stuff going on the Brave browser, but whatever. I'm curious on Arc. Do they offer that same capability where I'm on another machine and it shows all my history and stuff?
It syncs. You,
It
you
does.
can
I imagine
on
they
desktop. Yeah.
do they just use the Chrome sync? I think they do it
There.
slightly because Brave tries to be a more privacy browser than it. So
Right.
instead of
Yeah.
it anonymizes it by creating like the chain link thing that
Yeah,
you do
chain
with the
link, yeah.
sync, which is pretty cool.
crazy. It's amazing
Yeah.
how they do that.
I think like yeah, I think browsers are in interesting space where it's like trying to differentiate potentially.
Yeah.
I don't. I need to try something. Brave for me always hangs on my phone. Like whenever I search something, it doesn't load. So I need to try like a different mobile browser.
I
But
always have issues with like the mobile version of GitHub, which I wish GitHub
Yeah.
app would like let me view code and edit code like it should, but drives me crazy.
the what was I gonna say? Oh no, it's completely evaded me now. I had something. Oh, that's what's good. I saw a good post from Jake actually, and he was like, "There's almost like a some like features getting pushed into UIs that are almost like, what's the point? Like, so the example being Chrome's tab hover to show you how much memory is being used. Like 98% of people probably don't care."
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then I feel like that's a really interesting feature because it's like, who's the who's the who's the target audience here? You know, like say like if you were on, I feel like like how Safari you have to unlock the developer tools
Yeah.
for it. Like I feel like maybe it'd be better as a hook, like, oh, the developer tools are unlocked, so show the RAM usage on the tabs or something. I don't know, but it feels like a weird
good point.
default choice. Like I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it yet turn up in Brave. I think it's just in Chrome maybe, and I don't really use Chrome unless it's Canary to try something. So
Yeah.
That's a good point. I probably could go back to Canary usage on Chrome because I never open Chrome anymore. So
Okay. Yeah, I always found it odd on Safari that you have to enable the web developer tools.
it
'Cause
drives me crazy.
I always forget, like if I install a new machine and I'm like, why can't I do anything? And then it's like, oh, okay, like, because like, I mean, if you're not a developer, you're never going to reach for that anyways. So like, why not just make it on by default? But having said that, like Safari, like Jen Simmons and all the people over there have been pumping out a ton of stuff.
I was gonna say, yeah, Safari are like pretty damn good. Like their last like year or so, they won't like all of a sudden it's like, hey, we've just released all these things.
Yeah.
And it's like, how that is how much, like, where are all these engineers just coming from? Like they're just pumping stuff out. Like the last one they did, they just churned out loads of stuff on that 17.2 release. It's like, wow, that's sweet.
Here's my big challenge though, is like the web browsers, like non-developers, if you look across the percentage of usage of Chrome versus anything else, like I can't justify telling my mom, go log into Safari. It's just not a thing.
Yeah.
Especially when she has to go like off of Mac, right? To like on her Chromebook. And then she's like, well, what's this browser? I'm like, never mind, just use Chrome.
Edge.
Yeah,
Everyone's on
Edge
Edge.
is pretty good too. I was using Edge exclusively until I started using Arc, and to be clear, Edge is really good. I think the reason why I went with Arc, it hurt my brain for a week, and then I use it all the time. Like even when I stream, I use it for development. I mean, I still have to check stuff in like Firefox and Safari, but there's a lot of UX that, like in terms of differentiation, that's why I keep going to it. And it, like for example, they've got command palette. You can do Command L, command. That's nice.
That trips me up sometimes though.
Yeah, because sometimes I'm not sure if I'm in Raycast or Arc.
Yes.
That's one I haven't dug into yet because I'm like, so I maybe over the holidays I try and like dig into new tools because I'm like, if I go down the Raycast rabbit hole, then I'll be just configuring for ages.
We just did a podcast about it, and like I was using it before, but I had no idea the capabilities, especially with the community extensions in that. I use this is really dumb, but it's like my favorite part of it. There's a Slugify anything in your clipboard. I use that constantly.
Nice.
I mean, there's just such easy things, and like, let's say you like copied an image or something, and you just did it to clipboard, and you forget later on. I used to always like paste to Figma and then export or some weird thing like that. I can go back through my clipboard history and go, yeah, just make that a file now, please. Like just little things like that just it changes my whole mindset on things.
Side related, but I freaking love how OS X does like the clipboard handoff between machines. Like I never really used it, and then today I used it because I recorded something on Screen Studio on this, and then it just showed up on my other machine, like ready to paste. I was like, "Oh, that is so good."
Yeah.
I feel like Raycast does that as well, but I don't use a lot of, I guess, my studio. I should check.
It's funny, like getting back to browsers. Like I was using Edge on my phone all the time. I got an iPhone, and then I tried Arc, but I didn't like the Arc mobile experience. It didn't work for my brain. But um, I I started using Safari on my tablet and on my iPad and my phone, and the main reason is they have extensions. So like I have 1Password, like probably most of the planet, and like getting that in, it's like I use it constantly, and like I'm always in Safari now on my phone just because of those extensions. I can even it's a web extension, so like you can actually view dev tools like the markup and like a few things. It's not full-fledged dev tools, but just like that alone, that they support extensions, is the differentiator for me, and I haven't been off it in like 4 or 5 months now.
Oh, I feel like the browser landscape, I mean, just from 10 years ago, it's so much better across the board. And like with all of them, I think Jen being on the Safari team, like bringing that forward so much, it just feels finally like, hey, we can trust things that we think are going to get released are like released. And it's just so nice now.
What we need next is a reliable iOS simulator for web devs.
Oh, is that a problem?
Just one that's like lightweight and doesn't require like
Oh.
a mass Xcode installation and all that stuff.
100%.
And because we've literally had a thing like this week where it's like, great. So on iOS, like there's a bug that happens on a particular branch, and it's like can't repro on local at all. And then it's like, how do you do a decent iOS simulation that can repro that? It's like, and hook into it. Like, you know, with like, if it's on Android, you literally just plug a USB cable into the computer and just debug it straight through the browser. Like, it's super easy. Like, done it so many times on stage, and it's been like faultless. Like, and it's like, why is there no good iOS cable debugger? Like, I would have thought, like, even if you didn't have, say you had just an iOS device, like they should do like a USB debugger that only works in Safari or something, you know, that you could hook into. Like, that'd be super useful. Like, but yeah, that's like fresh in mind from this week. Like, just not being able to repro something, just like just having these bugs where you're like, I'll just keep pushing to preview and hopefully one of these links will work, but I have no idea.
I gotta ask, because it's fresh in my mind of 2024 predictions. I feel like Passkey is gonna take over the world. Have you guys, like, are you in the auth world enough where you're like, yeah, I see it starting?
I remember Roman speaking about this quite, because obviously Passkey was coming through, and I've seen presentations on it when I was at Google. So it is interesting. I don't know how quick the uptake will be on adoption for everyone, because it's like, you know, it's hard enough to get the average person to use a password manager. Like, if you think about outside of the broad space of tech, just like average Joe is going to be like, well, I just use hot buns 123 as my password everywhere. You know, like
password, good password.
So it's like, it's going to be, I don't know, like if they make it really streamlined to set up, then I think people do it.
I think with like Amazon pushing it and Google pushing it now, I feel like it's just gonna, like, we were debating at work, like, what do we call this? Because people don't know it yet. I'm like, call it Passkey, because that's what Google's called it, and that's what it is. But like, I think it'll be a common thing, and I do think people enjoy just being able to like WebAuthn, like thumb, boom, I'm in. So I think they're used to that side of it too. So that's my prediction, is in 24, it's going to be common phrase for people, but Maybe
I
I'm
think
too embedded in the auth world these days. I need to step away.
we just add it to the list of auth provider buttons and options when you go to log in something.
Yeah, exactly.
In 2024, I predict that auth options becomes a scrollable list. There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Which social provider?
Because like I don't know, I feel like I try, but I just YubiKey and
Oh, you're a YubiKey. See, we were just talking about that.
Yeah, I got one of those.
yeah, that's the one. I have
Man,
a
you guys
couple of
all
them.
have-
They're the best. They're so good.
Is this
Got it.
is this a work thing though, or like for personal use?
I use it. I had them myself anyway.
Okay.
Some places like use them for work, but I just use it. Like it's quite interesting. I was speaking to someone the other day, and they got locked out of everything because they didn't have access to their phone, and then
Okay.
their phone like bust or something, and they couldn't get in the tool, so they got completely locked out. And I was like, if you just had a YubiKey, tap done.
Yeah.
Like, that would have
Is
been
it- What happens when you lose your YubiKey?
have a backup. Or like I don't know why they don't sell them in 2-packs.
It
Because, like,
requires
you
a
wanna-
fingerprint, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
so
like
you-
where the Y is here on here, you just go like that.
It's sweet as well because it like NFCs to the phone. You can use it on desktop. You can, yeah, it's
That's
really
pretty
good.
cool. I didn't know the phone thing. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, like they do loads of different models. Like that's the one Nick's showing there is the NFC one, and then they do like I don't know if I have any in here.
Yeah.
I had like the super. They do like a nano one that's absolutely
yeah.
tiny and
I've
just
seen that
goes in
one.
the USB port, and you just tap it with your thumb, like or your finger or whatever. Them
think
ones are
that-
pretty cool.
That is this one. Yep.
Yeah, that's the one.
Swallow it. It's gonna be in our bloodstream, and you're just gonna be like,
Yeah. Just tap your elbow.
Nick's going dark on us. Look out, folks.
but yeah, I agree because I used to work at McAfee. I actually used to work on their password browser extension, so like LastPass, 1Password kind of thing. And the auth space is a weird space because people want security, but they want it to be easy, and
Easy,
those things
yep.
are conflicting. Like
100%.
so like it's like obviously biometrics was a huge win because like if I can like I tap my MacBook or I have my iWatch that unlocks my desktop or my phone, like the less you have to do in keeping it secure. And we're getting closer and closer to that. And then like to the passkey point, like I use it for, I think it only pops up for me on GitHub and some Google properties right now, but if it's there, I use it because then I don't have to do open 1Password. Okay,
Right.
add the 2FA now, like the 2-3 steps, and then
Yeah,
'cause you can set it up with a YubiKey, right? You can put a passkey on it somehow or something. I swear, like you go on Google and it says you can use it with a FIDO2 protocol key or whatever. But it's like I don't know. Even like people like we're technically in the space, and even like I'm like I don't know how to do this. I haven't even looked into it yet. Like,
I feel like
really
the like more secure, less secure thing though, it's really going to the wayside a little bit because like it used to be you at least had to have a pin in your head for your phone, right? Now someone can like punch you in the face, like hold your phone over your face. I'm into everything you have, including all of your passwords. So it's a little frightening to me.
a little more if anybody's seen that film, but
What is it? Sorry.
Demolition Man with Wesley Snipes.
Jeez, that's been a minute, yeah.
The classics.
Yeah,
they're all the best. Like, do you know what's funny to me? Like, I love all those kind of era films, and Steph's hardly seen any of them. So I'm like, what? Every time she's like, I haven't seen Commando.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Gotta
Yeah.
watch more. So
we always talk about flipping the switch. You guys know that reference? Over the top, nothing.
Over the Top, yeah, the movie, Stallone, yeah.
Yeah,
It's just it's arm wrestling. It's like
when he goes to arm wrestle, he's got like his hat on forward. Like, here's my hat. He's got this on, and he's like flips the switch.
yeah.
I'm gonna end the show on that because we've been doing it for 2 hours, and flipping the switch is perfect.
Better than ending it on falling down.
Nice segue.
I did a podcast with John from Supabase, so we're gonna roll out with Supabase. They'll probably sue us. That's fine, whatever. But props to Supabase. Good job. And thanks, guys, for hanging out with me for the remainder of the show. I really appreciate it. And you both need to come back on the regularly scheduled podcast, by the way. So
Cool.
I got head nods. Yes.
All right.
All right, folks. We'll see you for our next show, and I hope you enjoyed the holiday special. See ya.
Later, man. Later, guys.